Hello everyone. Physics is done, it's lawyering time. You are goddamn right, Empirical Woodland. Welcoming. Lawyer? More like law, yes. Welcoming, Blue Parrot. Oh, so excited to be here. It's been a long journey. It's not the end yet, though. But today, we shall finish what... We shall begin the end of this amazing, incredible game. And I hope that you all accompany me as much as you can. God, I fucking love law. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, there's a lot of people who are with you on that front. Especially people that watch and read One Piece, because there's like a character named Law there that's like very fucking hot, I will say. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. I would say no sense dilly-dallying around. Bit of the music, it's scene. That's weird. I made sure that the music will take the parrot to the stand. I would if I could. But that's not the Naruhodo that's going to do that. That is the other one, the original one. Allow me first to... There it is. Allow me to... there we go. Okay, now I have chat on my phone. Everything should be ready to go. The result for Ryune's Naruhodo. Investigation, part 1. That's a different Ace Attorney game. But maybe we can do it twice. There was a parrot in the Berkeley prison chief's director office. So maybe we can do it. Who knows? I hope that the music sounds okay. I have hope too. I hope that everything sounds okay. I hope that everything is like well leveled. Because I've been doing like tests across the streams and everything, and I think that this is like the ideal sound for both my voice and the game to be played at. Alright. The unexpected halt of proceedings sent a clamor around the courtroom. But, outside the Bailey, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trail within, it was a typical still night. Then, at a little past 8 o'clock that evening, Mr. Sholmes and his partner returned to Baker Street. Wow, what are we having for dinner? That is a huge dinner. 3rd of November, which is the same date as today. Oh, did you see? Everything's planned. Everything fell in place. I'm getting clipping, but it might be me. I hope that it's not clipping. Yeah, 1 hour later, exactly. ¿Qué te iba a decir? Blue Parrot, bueno, prueba a cambiar el setting de calidad y quizás se arregla, porque quizás es eso. A mí a veces me ha pasado. 3rd of November, 8:07 p.m. John suit. We have returned, my dear fellows. Ah, look at them both. Just after tip-tap dancing. Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help. Think nothing of it. I believe you've had an even more wearing date than Mikoto and I, no? I mean, to be fair, you both have been like up and running since yesterday. And you've went from Britain to France and back to back in like less than 24 hours. You could say that. We were on the brink of defeat in court earlier. So, this prosecutor, Asogi, had you on the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you say? Actually, he's my partner. In crime, in law, and in love. Well, he's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's changed. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm going to test out real quick if it's actual clipping. So hold up, because I'm like worried that this might be a bad thing. Okay, it sounds fine on my end. Like I just put up my phone next to my face and it sounds okay. So I'm going to assume that it sounds mostly okay. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I mean, it's incredible to think that he would even entertain the idea of acting as the Reaper's assassin. Well, nevertheless, you must introduce me. After all, I've only ever met the young man as he corpse. Oh yeah, that's right. Huevos con aceite, huevos con aceite y limón. Welcome in, Victor. Hope you're having a nice November 3rd evening. Yeah, Sean's only met Kazuma as a corpse, quote unquote, when all this started. Almost a year ago now. Mr. Sean still hasn't told us the truth about what really happened back then. About the motivation for what he himself described as a great detective's lie. Now then, I must say, it's really quite a journey all the way to France. Well, it is another country, Mr. Jones. So, what news of Judge Shikoku? Don't think that counts as meeting someone, Jones. We took him to Scotland Yard. The investigating detectives there have a lot of questions for the man. Es la de we are gonna take it, pero con huevos de aceite. Ah, no. Poor Professor Mikoto. This must be quite a shock for him. Ah, yes. I picked this up at the telegraph office on our way home. What is it? Surely you haven't forgotten already. I put upon you for the matter only yesterday. You put upon me, Jones. I had to fill out your telegram to Japan and foot the bill as well. Oh, you've had a reply already. What was so urgent though, Mr. Jones? Such matters can wait until later. I'm far too hungry for an involved conversation at present. Let's go, because supper is ready, everyone. Oh, and what a feast it is! If I were none the wiser, I would think the trial were won already. Yeah, this feels like a celebratory supper, Iris. I wonder what the trial 1 supper is going to be like. Roast beef, kibbles, stew, steak, and kidney pie. Yorkshire pudding. Tomorrow could be a very long day, so eat up. In that case, I think I'll sit myself just here. This place appears to be the only one set with the helping of pheasant as well. Oh, sorry, Harley, not there. Whatever not. Are we in set places this evening? Yes, and that place is for Susie's daddy. For me. That's right. I made it specially for you, Professor Mickey. Professor Mickey. I see. Well, that's terribly kind of you. It's a shame, really. What do you mean? Well, for a brief moment, I believed it. That Susie and I were half sisters, I mean. Ooh, she knew. She knew the whole time. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. This girl is like way smarter than everyone else thinks. Oh. Iris, do you mean...
Yes, I know now. I overheard yesterday. I secretly listened in to the conversation you had after I checked you all into thinking I had left.
Iris, no. What? What? Oh god, Sean is fucking dead. The misunderstanding arose because of that autopsy report from 10 years ago. It is pretty easy to piece out though. Yeah, especially when you're listening on the other people. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikotova are Iris' father. Yes, about that, Iris. You know,
I know. You can't tell me at the moment. Oh, Iris.
Me when she went certificate pieced together. So Iris is neither Wilson nor Mikotova's then. Okay, there are two possibilities right now. One, well, maybe three. One, she's an orphan that Sholmes adopted because he felt that he should adopt her. Or two, she is a Baskerville. I don't know. Let's see.
If isn't this by way of an apology, I'm sorry for eavesdropping.
Oh, no, that's quite alright. Then why don't I get any apologetic present? So, just who is Iris' father? I suppose that's not something we'll be finding out today. So then, let us dine, while our largely pheasant-less plates are still piping hot. Wait, why isn't she Watson's? What if Watson was a count? I figured because like I figured that she overheard the trial, like when we were talking about the case about the Wilson, and then maybe she just told us like oh no, that guy isn't my father or something like that. I mean, this is based on what she is just telling us right now. A fine idea, Sholmes. It all looks absolutely delicious.
Eat as much as you like. There are always seconds.
This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. About the telegram from Japan, and about Kazuma. I can't let this opportunity slip away. Oh. Pero. Look at that fuckboy pose. What the fuck? Sholmes. My dude. Sholmes. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I have seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Although, I do yearn for a Japanese kotatsu. Putting your legs under a warm, blanketed table is so comforting.
Do be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't mistakenly put your feet into the fire, will you? You would suffer terrible burns, you know.
I worry sometimes about how Susato-san sees me. I finally managed to remember this behemoth's name. The Great Analytiscope.
I don't think it was here when I left for Japan, was it?
Oh, is that right?
Yes, because it was with the pawnbroker.
Ah, of course.
Oh, that's giving me a wonderful idea. I could pawn everything that's on your desk. The office would be tidy at last.
Don't even joke about it, Miss Susto. You are joking, aren't you? That's fucking great. Ooh, drugs. The drugs. Why is only Sholmes here? Where is everyone else? If I remember correctly, this large and imposing lamp of iron is called a typewriter.
To think that every single one of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes blossomed from this very machine. Ah, it's such a dreamy thought.
I actually had a go on it for the other day. The metal bars that move when you hit the keys got all tangled up somehow, and that made Iris angry.
Mr. Naruto, you're ruining my dreamy thoughts. Please, don't do that again.
Ugh. Now I've made Susato-san angry as well. Let's talk with the man in the house. Mr. Shams, what are you doing?
Surely it's abundantly clear that I wasn't brooding over Mikotoma's refusal to share his pheasant with me. Nevertheless,
You know, sometimes a family is just two dads living a very, very long relationship, like far away, a long distance relationship, with an adopted pink-haired daughter, and the official daughter of one of them. You know, and the attorney that they somehow found on the street.
I felt the need to withdraw from the social circle for a while and look on with hungry eyes.
Ah,
Sorry, Harley, but I cooked that pheasant especially for Susie's daddy.
Even though I've played the role of father to you for far longer.
Mr. Shams, could I discuss some things with you?
Certainly, my dear fellow. I find myself quite in the mood for a spell of conversation. No doubt, you're hungry to learn more of my deep love of game.
I can probably contain my curiosity on that one. Hey Timbo, welcome in. Doing a little lurk? Sure thing. Hope you enjoy your lurk. And I hope you have a wonderful Friday evening. I mean, it's evening for me, but it's night for me actually. So I think it's evening for you. Yeah, have a nice day. Have a nice lurk. I can probably contain my curiosity on that one. Ooh, Shams looked like to the right there.
You didn't look at me in that fashion.
In what fashion?
It seems that before we discuss the pheasant, we have some rather unpheasant matters to discuss.
I hope I'm pronouncing pheasant right, because I have never seen that word before. The telegram from Japan. So, what was in the telegram you received back from Japan then?
Ah, this? I think my lucky stars it arrived in time. Record found as indicated. Duplicate follows. Kei Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson.
Yeah, the list of names from the end of the first game. What? Those 4 names? We've come across that exact same list before. They came up in that unforgettable case last spring. What cannot speak? What appeared to be a simple case of aggravated murder turned out to be masking monumental intrigue. A plot that involved the sale of British governmental secrets to foreign states. In exposing the means by which those secrets were being leaked, we deciphered a fragment of a message. Kei Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. But we didn't find the names out until the case was over, and we never did get to the bottom of what they meant. All we knew was that the information had been sent by somebody in the British government to somebody in Japan. So, why are the names coming up again now?
Yes, where did the sender of your telegram discover the name, Mr. Shams?
I have here the message I had wired yesterday. Allow me to read it to you. Enter Judge Jigoku's office undetected and investigate telegram records. Expect to find communication from Britain dated 1 year ago. List of 4 names. Need by tomorrow. Naruhodo.
I sent it to a detective I know who specializes in clandestine missions of this nature.
You asked Inspector Hosonaga to undertake such an onerous task for you.
The sprite with the little turtle on top. And in my name? I wonder what guys he opted for this time.
My dear fellows, it was a matter of great urgency, you understand. Anyway, the list of names was found in Seishiro's office, as Sean's predicted. So, you mean that mysterious collection of names that was sent from Britain to Japan was...
It was sent to Yashigaku. He was the intended recipient.
I don't believe it.
But that doesn't answer the question of what the list of names actually signifies.
I did formulate a hypothesis about that. But without a shred of evidence, I couldn't possibly have shared it.
Mr. Sholmes looks deadly serious for once. Telegram from Japan has been entered into the core record. It's been a long time since we have read this. Hosonaga, God bless your soul. Kazuma's death. That tragedy that we had to go through on the SS Buria. It was all for nothing. Kazuma wasn't there at all. We were completely taken in by the lie you told us. Your great detective's lie.
I took no pleasure in deceiving you. However, at the time, all that concerned me was preventing the young men's study tour from taking place, whatever the cost.
Oh? What?
I capitalized on the events that transpired to see that he was sent back to Japan.
His remains, you mean?
Precisely, Miss Susato. And then, I made sure that somebody else was sent to Britain in his stead.
Oh my, you mean?
The arrangement between our two countries was already in place. One university student lawyer and one judicial assistant to be accommodated on a study tour. In other words, by arranging for someone else to fill the place originally intended for Mr. Asogi, I would successfully prevent the men from arriving on our shores for several years at least.
Wait, do you mean to say that it was all in aid of stopping Kazuma to coming to Britain? That is why you...
Think back, Mr. Naruto. Was there not somebody who quite casually urged you to continue on the voyage to England?
Oh god, his voice. The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead.
My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely.
But there is no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer.
What a cheeky little bastard, Sholmes.
The voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer.
So, you manipulated me?
I've often remarked on the extraordinary lengths to which friendship will drive a man. I was quite sure that you would rise to the challenge for your late friend.
I don't believe it.
But if it was all contrived... I mean, what happened was treated by the authorities as murder. The woman was mistakenly arrested as the perpetrator. What do you suppose became of her?
Naturally, I didn't allow the misapprehension to have any serious repercussions. I subsequently explained everything and assisted the unfortunate soul in finding the foreign refuge she sought.
I seem to remember Miss Susato and I had some rather strong words for her.
Well, she was certainly not the weight of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure.
I wonder if she made it to America then.
I'm afraid I simply cannot comprehend it. Why would you go to such lengths, Mr. Sholmes? Why were you so determined to stop Kazuma-sama from reaching Britain?
The truth is, 12 months ago, there was already a very tangible omen of the impending tragedy, you see.
Oh,
An omen that, this very moment in time, is close at hand.
An omen? All these tragic events that already existed a year ago is close at hand? We need to find out exactly what Mr. Sholmes knows. Okay, what about this? Mr. Sholmes, would you mind looking at this?
This is hardly the time, Mr. Naruto, as I'm sure you will appreciate.
Oh, no, of course not.
My attention is entirely drawn onto one single matter now. The pheasant.
Anyone would think you haven't eaten in weeks. No. I'm thinking like we need to press him on something. Something from a year ago. There was no room for doubting with your instructions in this telegram, Mr. Sholmes. You were very clear that it was Judge Jigoku's office that should be searched, though you obviously knew that's where the list of the names would be found.
Kiyosogi, A. Shin, A. Gregson, J. Wilson.
But we only learned of those 4 names just over 6 months ago now. And only because they appeared as part of the top secret government communications that were leaked.
That's true, yes. But at the time, you were unaware of the background. You see, those 4 names were wired to Japan. Around 6 months before that. Approximately this time last year, in fact. When you were both still in Japan. It really would be hypocrisy on my part to reprove others for intercepting state secrets. Because after all, I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communications between the British and Japanese governments.
Increíble. My god. You're perpetually doing what? How?
Never mind the details, but you should know that I'm a war criminal in 37 states. No secret is safe from Sherlock Holmes when he has the signs on knowing it.
Oh my, Mr. Sholmes, what a fabulous line.
Now, 1 month after that list of 4 names was wired to the recipient Jigoku in Japan.
Fuck yeah, he's not a cop.
Dr. John H. Wilson was murdered. As soon as I learned of the incident, a hypothesis rapidly took shape in my mind. As it turned out, I was partly correct, and partly mistaken. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all the tragic events that were to follow.
Mr. Sholmes, please, tell us all you know. Tell us about these 4 names and the tragedy to which they are all somehow connected.
The 4 names.
As I said, when I learned of Dr. Wilson's murder in Japan, my mind immediately turned to those 4 names. Because, you see, there was someone else on the list, who I believe to be recently deceased.
Oh? What? Who?
A Shin, as it was transcribed in Japanese script. In actual fact, Miss Asa Shin. That was a familiar name to me. He was a professional killer, well known among London's unsavory classes.
Oh, I see.
But she had completely vanished from existence several months before Wilson's murder. So I came to the logical conclusion that she had herself been killed. And accordingly, I became fearful for the lives of the remaining 2 persons on the list.
Ah, Kiyosogi and D. Gregson.
Owing to our proximity, I decided to take measures to protect Gregson myself. But I determined it would be safest if young Asogi were to stay away from Britain.
Ah, so That's why you went to such lengths to prevent his study tour from going ahead.
Exactly.
So, you already knew who Kazuma-sama was, Mr. Shams.
Oh, yes. Sons and I have exchanged correspondence for years. I had recounted many tales about Asogi to him in my letters. And the news of Dr. Wilson's death, of course.
Que puto. Oh dear.
So, Dr. Wilson is dead then? I didn't know.
Oh, Iris.
I know he wasn't my daddy, but still. That is very sad.
Okay, I figure that Sean is like basically
No, yeah, like, Wilson is not Iris' father. Like, I can confirm that.
I'm guessing that's the angle that they're taking it.
I'm so sorry, Iris. We knew the significance of the name, obviously, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to tell you. No.
Jesus Christ, no tact. But what you just told us, Mr. Soames, doesn't completely tie in with facts. There is one big hole in your hypothesis.
A big hole, Mr. Verhodo.
Ah, yes. You mean about Asashin, I presume.
Oh, of course.
Exactly. She wasn't killed, was she? She was in Japan, posing as a visiting student under the assumed name of Giselle Brett.
I'm glad you're keeping up, my dear fellow. But I only became aware of that fact 2 days ago, in the foyer of the Great Waterloo Hotel.
Really? We just didn't tell Soames like, hey, this girl tried to kill me. Yeah. Well, tried to frame me for murder. They're constantly talking about how dead Iris' father figures are, and she's always in earshot. Yeah. I'm assuming that now they just dropped pretense because the child came out and said, yeah, I know. Can you just please, just don't lie to me, please?
And upon hearing that startling revelation, the hypothesis that I had formed surrounding those 4 names was completely turned topsy.
What? Topsy? Topsy hypothesis. What do you mean when you say your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Soames?
I had believed all 4 names on the list to be the names of victims. However, I was mistaken. Very much so. Assassin was a killer. So this telegram is a list of both victims and killers, is it? Indeed. And it would seem that Miss Shin was dispatched from Britain with the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Wilson. Her visiting student status being merely...
Ah!
It would of course explain why no motive could be determined for her actions.
So, the real reason Dr. Wilson was killed by Assassin is because he was the target of an assassination.
And forearmed with that knowledge, fresh consideration of this telegram puts the list in a very different perspective.
What do you mean?
Well, does it not strike you? There is another among the 4, who subsequently became a visiting student.
Wait, you mean...
But of course, a name you know only too well.
You mean... Kazuma?
Oh!
He did say in court earlier today.
Yes, on the 31st of October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission.
And the mission was...
The assassination of the martyr.
Kazuma? Kiryu Kazuma? Almost. Kazuma Asogi.
Young Mr. Asogi accepted that mission a year ago now.
Surely not.
In conclusion, this document is a contract of sorts. An international agreement, one might say, detailing an assassin exchange.
An assassin exchange? How could Kazuma possibly have got involved in something like that? assassin exchange.
Let's assume that we have two parties, each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. Those two parties then make a contract to swap their respective assassination target. That would then be an assassin exchange.
So, to begin with, the British assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Japan, where she kills her target. And then the Japanese assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Britain, in order to eliminate his target. It certainly does sound like an exchange.
But what on earth is the point?
Don't forget, Naruhodo, that the British assassin at least escaped conviction. Thanks to diplomatic immunity afforded by consular jurisdiction.
Oh, yes.
Such jurisdiction should be null and void under the terms of a new treaty between our two countries. So the fact that it was brought into play suggests intervention at the very highest levels.
The highest levels?
These murders were two sides of the same coin, linked not by a common motive, but by a contractual agreement. As such, they appeared utterly unrelated, yet in truth, the assassins were complicit in one singular devilish scheme. That disassociation and the safeguard of diplomatic immunity were, I believe, the motivation behind this plot. But wait a minute, Sholmes. If this telegram really is describing the exchange of assassins as you're suggesting, it would mean that the Japanese killer's target was never Seishiro Jigoku at all. It would mean Asogi's target was actually Inspector Gregson.
What? Kazuma was here for correction? So Judge Jigoku wasn't actually the mark?
Yes, that's exactly what it would mean.
I hold myself personally responsible for failing to keep the inspector safe.
Mr. Sholmes.
I told him of my fears, and implored him to seek a transfer to an overseas position. Obviously, with the young pickpocket in tow.
Yes, Ina. Come to think of it, Inspector Gregson did mention that to us at the Great Exhibition. That he would be transferring to the Paris police and taking Gina with him.
But without informing me, he engaged in one last assignment, it seems. And sadly, it turned out to be his very last.
This is too much to take in. Ugh, sorry, I had to yawn there.
Alright everyone, that's quite enough of all that serious talk for one day. Isn't it, Harley? I mean, look at the time.
Ah, quite right, Iris. We must conclude our preparations for tomorrow.
What preparations?
Well, I think I shall make my way back to my hotel room now. This has certainly been a night to remember.
It is a little bit sad though. I mean, I like the idea of you being my daddy. Because then Susie would have been my big sister.
Oh, Iris. She starved for familiar affection. I'm sorry, Iris. Susette is like,
I know, Iris. I was thinking quite the same thing. Were you?
My voice is cracking today.
But if somebody like me would be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister. What? Really? Oh yes, without question. So, you will teach me all the ways in how to throw Rono to the floor.
Yes, Iris, yes.
Yes, of course. It would be my pleasure.
You didn't have to agree quite so readily. Ay, la yaya. Hola, bienvenido. Te comento, llevamos... bueno, hemos interrogado a Sons de todo. Nos ha contado lo del Judge Jigoku. Nos ha contado que la lista de los nombres era para él. y que Kazuma iba a ser un asesino para Gregson. Nos ha contado todo eso. Y ahora están hablando de estas dos de ser hermanas. You didn't have to agree quite so readily. Yeah, because like seeing here is like Kei Asogi, A. Shin were the killers, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson were the victims. Also, Hosonaga MVP. Hosonaga MVP. Did we ever examine this, though? I don't think so. You see these little things all over the place, don't you? It's the part on the top of your pocket watch that you twist to set the time, isn't it?
It's called the crown, I believe. A watch would be quite useless without one.
The crown? Like what sits on top of a monarch's head? That is a very grand name for such a tiny part. But actually,
Yes, Mr. Naruto?
if this is a crown, I have a feeling I might have seen a monarch around here somewhere with a very bare head.
If by monarch you mean pocket watch, then I'm quite sure you have.
That's it? I'm not going to combine it or anything? Okay. I was hoping like maybe that we were going to like combine it. What do you think, Mrs. Sato?
I feel sure I know exactly what would fit here.
Really? I was just thinking precisely the same thing.
We're about to see that the little round component is actually part of Inspector Gregson's broken pocket watch.
Really? I was just thinking precisely that too. Look.
A perfect fit.
I knew it. Alright, perhaps you knew it.
I will make a note of this new information at once.
Alright, that's great. Perfect.
Oh, but wait a minute! If Sus is going to be my big sister, you could be my big brother if you want, Bruno.
Huh? I mean, yes, of course. If you will have me, I will gladly be your brother.
Well done, Iris. We must always be mindful of feelings. I've raised you so well.
Do you think, Sholmes, that you have raised her well? Do you really think that? Because being sensitive is your strong suit, naturally.
Right, I'm going to work extra hard for tomorrow now. Because it's for my big brother and sister.
Oh. What is all this talk about preparing for tomorrow? Preparing what?
You will just have to wait and see.
Oh.
Good luck in court tomorrow. I'm expecting a sterling performance.
I will do my very best, of course. Okay, we're just jumping into trial? I was not expecting that. So, the overnight break in the trial's proceedings became a crucial turning point, exposing new truths while exposing new conundrums. Not a list of 4 names on the telegram in Judge Jigoku's office, and the extraordinary assassination plot in which my best friend had somehow become involved. I felt as though I had been plunged into an even greater darkness, all of a sudden. But, at the same time, I felt sure that I would see the light again soon.
We are hunting you, Naruhodo. We are the ghost of Christmas past, present, future, and even greater future.
Because I was lucky enough to have the most wonderful family in the world standing steadfastly behind me. Bro. Found family. Fuck yeah. Look at them. You have Dad that is a quite incompetent detective, Susato as the big sis, and Iris as the little sis, and Ryunosuke as the middle brother. Okay, we're jumping straight into the trial. I did not expect this to go, like this investigation to be that fast. So I'm guessing that I will cut today's stream after we reach the first to be continued in the trial, and then tomorrow we will conclude the trial. I'm thinking, or maybe I will finish it today. Who knows? Anyway. Wait, no. Already saved. Now this trial is going to be long. 4th of November. Well, chat, this is it for today. No. 4th of November, 9:30 AM. The Old Bailey courtroom. Before we begin today, a brief announcement. As with the closed trial 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come to light in these proceedings. The revelation that the well-known Reaper is actually an organization illegally executing its own brand of justice. And the discovery that the respected yard inspector was at its heart until he himself perished in an assassination plot. Well, I say to all members of the judiciary here present on this occasion, that we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Counsels, we will undertake this trial with the resolve to pursue the truth to the bitter end. Resolve, yes, that's my intention.
My lord, if I may inquire.
The defendant may speak.
On what grounds is Kazuma Asogi permitted to continue in his role as a prosecutor? He has admitted to colluding with the victim in a plot to assassinate an innocent man. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of freedom, let alone be leading the prosecution.
Yeah, he's right. He's right.
I submitted a written petition to Lord Strongheart, requesting that judgment of my transgressions be delayed by 1 day. You did what? In today's proceedings, I intend to expose everything. My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this 1 day.
Kazuma.
Whatever the outcome of this trial.
Okay, just look at the time and it will take you 4 hours. Vale. So today we're going to do 2 hours. Or 1 hour because like it's already quite late. And tomorrow we will do the rest of the trial. Thank you. Muchas gracias por eso, la Yaya. De verdad. Thank you so much, la Yaya.
Whatever the outcome of this trial, I give my word that I will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe. And I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper.
Kazuma is bristling with hostility today. I get the distinct impression that we're heading into a very dangerous territory.
Is that really even Kazuma-sama standing before us?
I have to say, the writing for Kazuma so far has been fucking excellent. Like, even, like, usually when the characters are, like, written with, like, oh, I'm going to be this thing, and then I disappear, and then I come back, and I am different, and everyone around me feels that I have changed. Like, it usually feels very jarring. Like, that change just happens. But knowing Kazuma, like, even the things that we knew before, like back in trial 1, in the very first trial, and how Ryunosuke is like reacting to him right now, like it's very well written that it makes sense both to the characters and to the player. So I'm really liking that. He's like very well written. As an extreme exception to normal practices, I have granted this prosecutor's request. The defense finds this acceptable, I presume. Yes, my lord. In that case, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed hearing of Baroque Band 6. Ooh, the music. The defense is ready, my lord.
The prosecution is more than ready.
Very well then. This preamble has taken long enough. Executor Asogi, begin.
As you wish, my lord. The prosecution calls the first witness to the stand. Bring Seishiro Jigoku into the courtroom.
At last then, we've reached the final battle. He's putting literally everything on the line now in order to get to the truth. Come on, Ryunosuke. It's time for that steely resolve. Because this is going to test it to the limit. Oh, I have something in my eye. There you go.
Witness, state your name and occupation for the court.
Ah. So, it was you who issued this, was it?
Your subpoena. I did what was necessary.
Well, look at what the young man has become. I didn't think I would see the day when you would take that tone with me, I must say. The witness will ensure his responses are pertinent to the questions asked. My name is Seishiro Jigoku, the Supreme Court judge from the Empire of Japan.
16 years ago, this man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned to Japan. As well as presiding over the Supreme Court, he is also currently Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs.
I am of course fully aware of Mr. Jigoku and his preeminent roles. I invited him personally to the International Forensic Science Symposium as a representative of his country.
Okay, so you were the one who wanted to kill him then.
I hear he also played a key role in the conclusion of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation.
Ha! It was a great honor to be involved in the negotiations.
I put my all into that treaty.
Judge Jigoku, I must ask.
Well, I never. Fancy the young murdering student turning up here of all places.
You acquitted me yourself. And now, I am a practicing defense lawyer.
Yes, and full of self-importance like your friend across the courtroom, I see.
Ooh, he's not playing around. You came here to London by invitation to the International Forensic Science Symposium. But then, without informing anyone of your plans, you took flight to France.
Took flight? I would have to object to that turn of place.
Then explain yourself. What exactly were the circumstances?
Well, I was somewhat expecting this. And I'm sorry to say, I decline to comment.
What?
Leaving the country prematurely when I was an invited guest may be questionable etiquette. But my decision is unrelated to this case. I can't be bound to testify. Unrelated, you say?
Ooh, those two words are too similar for me. Oof.
Unrelated, you say? I appreciate that a respected police inspector has been killed, for which I offer my condolences. However, being an alien, I had obviously never met the man, nor do I know the first thing about him. As such, I'm in no position to testify. It's as simple as that. So you would run from all of this? I beg your pardon. This case is more far-reaching than the murder of Inspector Gregson. It has ties to another murder, a case that was tried in Japan almost a year ago now.
A year ago in Japan. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson, you mean?
That's right. And you, Judge Jigoku, are at the heart of both cases. The defense has evidence to prove it.
Well, Ryunosuke, I see from the look in your eyes that you are resolved to carry this through to the very end, too. Let's see your evidence, then. What proof do you have that Seishiro Jigoku is involved in this case?
Okay, I am confused because they were talking about about Dr. John H. Wilson. But now they're talking about the relation between Jigoku and this case. Which, I mean, it has to be the small component, I think. I'm going to save just in case.
Take that!
What on earth is that?
This piece of evidence is a welcome present to the course house, with the compliments of the defense. You have a poor grasp of British court etiquette, counsel.
That's the extent of your resolve. You disappoint me. Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Okay. It's like they're talking about. Oh, you have to connect him with this case. Okay, so it has to be the pocket watch, but now you have to connect him to both this case and the one from a year ago.
Take that!
This is a telegram detailing a communication sent between Britain and Japan approximately 1 year ago. The communication contained 4 names: Kei Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson. Hold it. You little... Where did you get that? In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Jigoku. What? How on earth did you?
What is all this about? Why is my name on that list?
This list of 4 names follows a certain pattern. T. Gregson and J. Wilson are the names of victims. Kei Asogi and A. Shin are the names of assassins.
No.
A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Wilson's life was taken in a Western-style restaurant in the capital. The culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Giselle Brett. But her real name was Asa Shin, a professional killer sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain.
A. Shin and her victim, J. Wilson.
And the murder that took place just here in London was the counterpart to that crime. An assassin sent from Japan, also a visiting student, Kazuma Asogi, whose victim was the British police inspector, Tobias Gregson. Asa Shin? Yes, assassin. They are not subtle about the names.
Kei Asogi and T. Gregson. One assassin from each country to kill a target residing in the other.
Sí. Literalmente lo que estás diciendo, Víctor. Exactly that. Assassin. What exactly is the defense suggesting? These 2 cases of murder, one that took place in Britain and one in Japan, were masterminded by a pair of individuals from each country as a form of assassin exchange. And the telegram the defense has acquired is proof of this international contract to kill. What? The telegram was found in your office, Judge Jigoku. In other words, the mastermind in Japan was you.
Judge Jigoku, what is all this about?
Murder McMurderface.
Ah yes, it is me, Murder McMurderface, the final boss of the Ace Attorney saga.
They are always cheeky with the names like that. And you, Kazuma, you lied. During yesterday's proceedings, you acknowledged that you had accepted the assassination mission. But the mark wasn't Judge Jigoku at all. It was T. Gregson, Detective Inspector Scotland Yard, as shown by the name on the killing contract.
Very impressive, Ryunosuke.
But actually,
I didn't lie. The name of the target I was ordered to kill never passed my lips yesterday. The idea that Seishiro Jigoku was the mark came entirely from you.
ah, you deliberately avoided saying a name? The defense claims these four names indicate some sort of international assassinate exchange. I'm sure I speak for all present when I say that the very idea seems utterly absurd. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what do you have to say for yourself? His silence only goes to prove his guilt.
There is another very important point that this new development brings to light. There is no distinct possibility that the scene of Inspector Gregson's actual murder was in the witness's cabin aboard the SS Grouse.
That's Jigoku. You have to testify now. To refuse would put you in contempt of court. There's no need for quite such a vicious stare, young man. Very well then. As a parting gift to you all, I will tell you everything I know. It seems this Japanese gentleman has information that the court must hear about the alleged assassin exchange and the events of the night of the 31st of October. Present your formal testimony now. As you wish, my lord. Woof! Witness testimony. The assassin exchange. It's true that Kazuma-Sogi was assigned to the assassination well, no so loud. It's true that Kazuma-Sogi was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. Was the condition of the British study tour. However, in the end something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all time. If there had been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved. Bro. So you admitted then, as this communication suggests, there really was an assassin exchange arrangement between Britain and Japan. A political endeavor at the highest levels. Not something I can discuss here.
To use such a worthy practice as foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder. It's the most appalling thing I have ever heard.
Appalling? Well, it's easy to judge.
Pardon?
Asagi had a reason for taking his sword to that British inspector, you know. What? Which is why he accepted the mission in the first place. Isn't that right? So...
Kazuma-sama.
That's Jigoku. If you are the mastermind behind this operation in Japan, then tell the court the identity of your counterpart in Britain. I'm not obliged to divulge that information.
As I said yesterday, I have killed nobody. I freely admit that I accepted the mission, but on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. In short, this assassin exchange that the defense has identified is unrelated to the events of this case.
The crucial point is this. Your police inspector can't have perished aboard that steamship in Dunkirk. Because, if he had been shot in the cabin, it's inconceivable that a member of the crew wouldn't have heard it.
That's right. Gregson was killed after returning to London, in the room on Fresno Street. And the perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Barok Van Six. The prosecution's accusation remains unchanged.
To think that a seemingly innocent foreign exchange program was a facade for such Machiavellian dealings. My dude, when we arrived in Britain, you literally told us, do you have any idea what your friend was supposed to do here? Like, you were trying to figure us out if we knew or if we were going to do the mission. Like, you knew, motherfucker, you are the other side. Clearly, it's a plot only a government minister and high-ranking judge such as the witness could hope to execute. So you, in Britain, then.
Well, I seem to recall that it was someone on the British side who controlled everything. Be that as it may, be that as it may, it is not the place of this court to pursue this villainous assassin exchange plot. We are concerned only with the tangible events, tending to the murder of Inspector Gregson. Is the defense clear on that point, counsel?
Yes, my lord. I will keep that in mind as I cross-examine the witness. Cross-examination. The assassin exchange.
Hold it!
A year ago, when Kazuma was still in Japan then.
Correct. It was at the examination center for applicants, the study tour that I approached him.
I'll never forget it. I remember exactly what you said. You just came out and asked me forthright if I had considered traveling to Britain
I don't know what's wrong with me that I can't speak.
on an assassination mission.
Surely not.
I thought it was a joke at first, of course. But then, it was made clear to me that if I didn't accept, I wouldn't be considered for the study tour.
So you agreed to it? Just for that? I mean, I know how much you wanted to study in England, but... assassination?
Sorry.
The Emperor of Japan had accepted a proposal from the British Empire at the time. An agreement to send a student from each country to the others to deepen cultural understanding and friendship. But behind the scenes, the chosen students were to be given assassination missions. I had no choice but to accept the proposal, originated from my British counterpart. Why? Why didn't you expose the plot there and then?
Britain acknowledges no part in these alleged misbegotten dealings. I advise you not to make spurious allegations. Foreign Minister Mijigoku.
As a witness, I am bound to tell the truth, my lord. Anyway, I picked the Sogi and explained the details of the plan to him. Hold it!
Why Kazuma?
Oh, sorry. I didn't sleep much tonight.
Mainly because I had to get up early for a lot of stuff. I finally went and got my degree, like printed out and everything, and I had like a medical checkup after that. Why Kazuma? Why did you pick him as the assassin?
He was the most capable of all the applicants. And in addition, I knew he decided to travel to Britain was very strong. In fact, it was almost more than a desire. It was his whole purpose in life.
Yes, as his best friend and partner, I can certainly attest to that. The way he threw himself into his studies, the way he pursued becoming qualified as a lawyer. It was all ultimately for that one single goal of being accepted on his study tour to Britain.
And of course, we know the reason behind that. He was determined to find out for himself the truth about his father, Kenshin Asogi.
There's nothing I wouldn't have done to get here. Be that agreeing to assume the role of an assassin, or betraying people's trust.
Well, you certainly did a fine job of betraying mine, Asogi.
But why was Inspector Gregson the target?
I have no idea. Those were the orders from Britain. I was in no position to question them.
You have no idea? Really? I find that hard to believe.
Oh, do you? That Shigaku was once a visiting student here in Britain himself, of course. Perhaps he has some connection with Inspector Gregson from that time. The defense really ought to catch up.
With what?
With the fact that the assassin exchange has absolutely nothing to do with the case under scrutiny here. Yes, I have already admitted to recruiting Asogi. Hold it!
I presume you're referring to the incident that occurred during Kazuma's passage to Britain in January. The awful tragedy that took place on the steamship. Word arrived at the ministry some 2 weeks after the ship's departure from our shores. A visiting student had been killed, but his body had somehow gone missing in Hong Kong. The news was wired to me from a detective I had placed on the ship to accompany the assassin. Obviously, Kazuma didn't actually die at all. But he did lose his memory, including all details about his special mission. I did not consider dispatching another assassin at that point. That wasn't possible, simply because that black-clad young student over there had already put himself forward as a Sogi's replacement. Ooh. And there was no way to stop him from reaching Britain. Ah! My hands were completely tied.
So Mr. Shom's strategy worked perfectly.
He predicted everything that would happen.
Months later, my memory returned. But I had never intended to go through with the assassination mission anyway.
So, you were playing me right from the outset, were you? Is that it?
I would sooner be guilty of that crime than of taking someone else's life. I was prepared to do whatever I had to, in order to get myself here to Britain.
This line of questioning has gone on long enough. All the court should be concerned about is in the testimony given by this witness. Are details retelling to his relationship with Inspector Grayson and the victim's murder.
In that case, as I've already made perfectly clear, I had no connection to the man or his death.
And you have some means of substantiating this plea.
Hold it!
Outside your cabin in the first class area of the SS Grouse, you mean?
Yes, that's right. Not least because there was a murder of a student passenger earlier in the year, I imagine. Liner operators have taken to posting a crewman outside every first class cabin door.
I can confirm the presence of the crewman guard myself.
What do you mean?
Because I accompanied Inspector Grayson to Dunkirk that night. I witnessed it with my own eyes. There was a well-built crewman standing guard directly in front of the door to the witness's cabin.
At that particular time, of course, I had gone to the ship's dining room for dinner.
The inspector and I asked the crewman to allow us into the cabin while we waited for Judge Jikoku's return.
I suppose Inspector Grayson was there in his capacity as the Reaper. He was intending to take the witness's life.
Exactly. As I've said numerous times now, I had no intention of killing anyone.
So the crewman led 2 potential assassins into the cabin he was supposed to be guarding. Not the most convincing of sentries, really.
In truth, those were my thoughts too. But anyway, I stayed to talk with Inspector Grayson for a short while. And then I left him there, and made my way off the ship alone.
Was the guard still at the door when you went?
Yes. He glared at me as I walked past.
You see, that proves it.
A notice about a practice evacuation to be carried out by the crew of the SS Grouse. The night before the ship arrived in Dover, it was found in Judge Jikoku's cabin. Evacuation drill notice, 31st of October. Following departure from the port of Dunkirk, all crew members are required to assemble on the main deck at 10 PM in order to review evacuation procedures. The drill will take 20 minutes. Crew to resume duties as soon as the drill is over. So, it took place in the drill. The assassination, I mean. I think I need to present it here.
Objection!
Yeah.
Yes, as the court has heard, there was a crewman posted outside Judge Shigoku's cabin. However, we can be sure that, contrary to the witness's claim, the guard wasn't there at all times.
What?
I have here a notice of a particular event that was scheduled to take place aboard the steamship on the 31st.
Well, where did you get that?
It's evidence gathered by Mr. Sherlock Holmes. You were acquainted yesterday, if you remember.
Sherlock Holmes again.
According to this itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 PM, and for a period of 20 minutes, all crewmen of the SS Graf were to gather on deck for an evacuation drill.
All crewmen were away from their posts?
And during that 20-minute interval, of course, any gunshots emanating from your cabin would have been heard by no one. In summary, Judge Shigoku, you had ample opportunity to commit the crime.
Ah,
Objection!
A 20-minute window of opportunity. That's an excellent point, Ryunosuke. But it amounts to nothing.
Why?
Because the witness clearly stated in his testimony that no incident occurred in his cabin. Unless you have some decisive evidence that can show his testimony to be false. Your accusation is nothing more than conjecture.
very true. Well then, counsel.
Inspector Gregson was killed in Judge Shigoku's cabin that night. I'm certain of it. Because the defense has the evidence to prove it.
You will present the evidence for the defense at once, counsel. What proof do you have that the victim's life was taken in Jigoku's cabin on the 31st of October?
The fact that we found this. It was broken when he was shot. Or when he fell down, whatever. Or when he was killed.
Take that!
Judge Jigoku, this was found in your cabin yesterday.
What is that? The crown of a pocket watch. A pocket watch.
And if you will observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part.
It can't be.
Moreover, this crown is a perfect fit on the spindle protruding from the victim's watch. Now, the fact that this was retrieved from Judge Shigoku's cabin tells us that the victim's watch almost certainly broke them. In other words, the victim was killed on the 31st during the 20-minute evacuation drill. In the cabin occupied by you, Judge Shigoku.
Well, you're razor sharp, aren't you? You young murderer.
Objection!
Expertly maneuvered, Ryunosuke. And your argument sounds entirely plausible. At first. But rather like this pocket watch. It's full of cracks.
What?
And I believe Judge Shigoku feels the same way.
Yeah, because well,
I was wrong to acquit you earlier in the year.
sorry?
If I had known that it would result in anyone having to listen to this dribble, I would have declared you guilty just to spare the world your ridiculous bombast.
My fucking dude. What the fuck?
I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony. When you hear what actually happened in my cabin that night, you will notice the pitfall into which you have stumbled. Prior to your renewed testimony, I would like to clarify one point. The fact that this part of the victim's watch was discovered in your cabin means that you acknowledge that he was there, I presume.
Yes, I do.
Very well then. You may proceed to give your formal testimony.
about what exactly happened in your cabin aboard the ship on the evening of the 31st of October. Of course. As a man of the law, I have no intention of obstructing justice. The events in the cabin. I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with an Ippon sail throw, though. He couldn't wait to run away after that. I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with this murder. The inspector was clearly killed having returned to Britain, because his body was found in London. Ippon Seoi. A common jiu-jitsu martial arts technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily for his watch to take.
Sorry, Naruhodo. I imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you?
What?
The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin in no way proves that the victim's murder took place there.
Ah! I've no doubt the inspector intended to kill me, but he managed to pull the trigger.
Yes, because he was merely a tactician, not the Reaper's hand of death.
Well, the testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell. Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding, my lord. But if this testimony holds, Judge Jigoku will be deemed to have had no involvement in the case. Well, counsel, I really see no reason for wasting precious court time here on a cross-examination. Sorry, my lord. The defense has the right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that. You're an embarrassment to your countrymen, not knowing when you're beaten. In that case, proceed, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm going to... Oh. Cross-examination, alright. For some reason my hand is like cramping. I don't like that. I'm going to do some stretches first. Much better. Events in the cabin. Okay, it's waiting for me.
Hold it!
Because the so-called guard posted at your cabin door had just let your killer pass, you mean? Apparently, Gregson told the crewman he was a police inspector. Which was the truth, of course. He wouldn't have had his identification with him, though. Hydrate now? Thank you, Blue Parrot. You wouldn't have had... He had his trench coat and moustache, not to mention the bag of chips. I imagine the crewman was convinced. But the man accompanying him would have had two swords slung around his waist.
You mean me?
Who else? Yes, that's true. You would have hoped the sight of a few swords might have set off alarm bells in the guard's head.
The point is, I left the cabin before its occupant returned, and I immediately disembarked the ship.
Certainly, all I can tell you is that only the inspector was waiting for me when I arrived back at my cabin. And you entered without any inkling of suspicion. That's right, none whatsoever.
Hold it!
Obviously, you're talking about Inspector Gregson. Yes, though at the time I didn't know the man's name. And there was no time for introductions. I value my life over manners. By which you mean that the inspector was there to assassinate you, I suppose. Wait, how didn't you know his name if you were acquainted 16 years ago? That was certainly the impression given by the gun pointing in my direction. But I've never seen the muzzle of a revolver shake about so much in all my life. Anyone would think the man had never shot somebody before. Believe it or not, most of us haven't.
Anyway, there was no time to call for the help of the crewmen at the door. So I dealt with the man myself.
Hold it!
Even though the man had a gun? That was a very brave move, wasn't it?
My Bonseo is far faster than a bullet, I can assure you.
But surely all that commotion caused the crewman to come in, didn't it?
Yes, of course. He burst in immediately without knocking. Inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow, and just managed to slip past him to make his escape.
The outstanding guard does it again.
Luckily, there aren't many situations I can get out of using a quickie Bonseo through.
Hold it!
The crown snapped off and the glass covering the face of the watch was cracked.
Preferable to the man's head being pulled off or his spine cracking, wouldn't you say?
Not that the man was spared for long. A bullet to the chest soon saw to that. But the point is, the broken pocket watch doesn't prove that the murder took place.
Absolutely not. All the watch proves is the power of my jiu-jitsu throw.
Whatever you say, it doesn't quite ring true that no shot was fired in that cabin. Because there was an obvious bullet hole in the wall.
What are you talking about? That's what the start of your lowbrow detective stories told you, is it? Well, I don't care for such fiction. Haven't you worked it out yet, you little stripling? The murder took place in my cabin.
Hold it!
But there is no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive.
Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, stripling.
What?
If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth could he have got back to England? To Britain? When people die, their bodies remain at that same spot. It's a devil of a thing.
Well, then, obviously the culprit must have moved the body.
How exactly? Carrying a corpse of a ship in your hands would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think?
Well, yes, that's true, but
All passenger luggage is inspected when it is unloaded from arriving vessels. And I would like to think the border police would query the corpse of an English gentleman as hand luggage.
If the murder had taken place aboard the ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea.
I'm thinking that maybe maybe Gregson was maybe inside of here at the time.
There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain.
Ugh. That's a skill that idea then.
But perhaps not.
Miss Susato?
We have heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them. Which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea.
Yes, that is true. So, transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative.
Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you? I thought I had been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony. With your consent, of course, my lord.
No objection. State your amended testimony now. You fool. You absolute imbecile. Don't you know? I'm already 4 universes ahead of you.
Objection!
There is no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? I would say the opposite is true.
And what is that supposed to mean?
Far from being impossible for you to do. The transportation of Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do. What are you talking about, Ryunosuke? as well as being a judge. Mr. Jigoku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched for when he enters the country. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? I knew you were jealous. I presume you recall this, Judge Jigoku. It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. As the court will note, you have with you your large traveler trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside.
Mr. Terjodo, surely you're not suggesting...
I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrivals from Japan in the hotel, the body of Inspector Grayson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk. Order, order, order in court. I'm skeptical, counsel. A grown man's body could fit inside even the largest travel trunk. It could. Because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside his trunk. And verifying that would be extremely simple. Wouldn't it, Judge Jigoku?
But inside his trunk? How horrifying.
And after we had spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Fresno Street. Taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body. I don't have to listen to this nonsense. Dr. Gori, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. She has acknowledged that there are signs that steps may have been taken to disguise the true time of death. The onset of the body's decomposition could have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator. Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of that requisite size are few and far between. Yes, I'm sure they are. But one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electrically refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyages. And the SS Grouse is no exception. Professor Mikotoba told me about it only yesterday. Well, that's Jigoku. However much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer. Well, this is all very heartening. I can see that it was a wise move. Letting Asogi and you embark on this study tour. What are you talking about now? Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century. I can see that you've both laid firm foundation for that already.
Let's see, Goku, please, stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond?
Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there?
Why ever not?
Because before you can even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical. The actual scene of the crime. The prosecution stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. As the accused, Barrow 6, shot the victim at point-blank range. Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling. Veo que llega un buen momento. Bienvenido, Ramón. Sí, llegas justo. Hemos empezado el juicio. Tipo hace ya un rato. Y la idea es hacer la mitad del juicio hoy y la otra mitad, la mitad final mañana. Por la tarde. Así que bienvenido. Vamos a pegarle a un puto viejo. The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantly? I'm afraid it's the prosecution's claim. That's the only fairy tale here.
How can you say that?
Quite simply. Because that claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession. Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you had better explain yourself to the court, don't you? The prosecution claims that Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. But this evidence clearly contradicts that claim. I mean, it must have been the pocket watch. Right? I mean, like right now, I'm like, because if he died at 10 p.m. that night, then the clock kept going and then it stopped at 5 p.m. the next day. Like that's my like that's my stance on this whole thing. It must be the pocket watch. Because the mechanism didn't actually break. Right?
Take that!
The Japanese really are a curious breed. To proffer an argument with such conviction, and to present such nonsensical evidence.
Perhaps my Japanese friend's inexplicable thinking is why people talk of the mystique of the East.
In case you hadn't noticed, I'm not the only Japanese around here. Do you even have a mirror? Okay, we need to rethink this. If he had died on Fresno Street, what would be the contradiction here? I am actually quite stumped here. I'm like thinking. Die instantly. ¡Buah! Increíble, ya me lo escapa. So this is the revolvers. Yeah, this is the... I'm thinking, like, wow, okay. If he died on the spot, then he shouldn't... Wow. Esto es complicado. Maybe I'm just like forgetting something from another from the previous streams or something, but I cannot really think right now. Huh. Like, I'm thinking right now. Like, maybe it has to be like the position? Because, like, how could he have... Like, okay, he's going to die. Okay, so he dies, right? But why wouldn't he just fall to the floor, like, either sitting or like falling down on top of himself, like downwards? He's like curled up as if he was like inside the trunk, right? So maybe it's the position actually.
Take that!
Ah, amigo. A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed. Yes, but the point is, the poster of the body itself. If Inspector Gresson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question that his body would have been curled up in a ball like that. Objection! I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. You could easily have adopted that fetal position due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal.
Objection!
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Shiroku. But it's your logic that is flawed. What? According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position. Ah. Which begs the question of why the victim's body is curled up in that way. Though the answer should be abundantly clear by now. You're suggesting. The inspector's body took on that poster ahead of its arrival on Fresno Street. Before it was coldly turned out on the floor. On the inside of a large travel trunk. No.
You're quite right. Shape of the body. It looks exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space.
Aha. Bidibidibim. Judge Shikoku, present your trunk for examination. I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood. Ah. Yeah, what about the blood? Maybe they like I was thinking maybe they did like a second like wound to make sure that there was blood coming out. But yeah, you're quite right. What about the blood? Present my trunk? I refuse. What? Joder, un puto bot en Twitter me está mencionando. La virgen. What is going on? Vale, bloqueado. There we go. Bodies stop bleeding. If you catch someone and they don't bleed, they are fucking dead. Maybe. I mean, pro tip for everyday life. Yay. No, like, I mean, when you die, doesn't all like the blood go to your lower parts? Like the lower parts of the body at the position that you're in. So if you got a wound there, wouldn't the blood just flow out from there? Or maybe it was like the blood of someone else that just prepared the scene. Like maybe the killer cut his own hand or something to make the blood look like it was the victim's. Maybe it ends up coagulating. Yeah, that's right. What? On what grounds? It could even be, yeah, it could even be pig's blood. Like we said that in the previous trial, didn't we? I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some scribbling spaceless accusations.
In other words, Judge Shikoku, there is blood in your trunk.
I decline to answer that. As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges that I must. At this moment, you're not a government minister. You are a witness in a trial in Britain's highest court. I don't care who you are or what your status outside the schoolroom might be, but you will not hold information. You will not withhold information. Nothing is more important than the truth. Ugh. Ah! I mean, maybe like they are. Okay, hold up. All right. Like I was being mentioned again on fucking by another bot. Order in court. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what's it to be? You can't be serious. You did it? I mean, Kazuma, the man who literally asked you to kill someone. Killing someone? Wow, I can't believe it. Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Sogi? What? Very well, I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country. Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense.
He was the best man I knew.
Yeah. He only wanted to kill you. Dear God, outrageous.
He was the best man I knew. He only wanted to kill the victim of this case. That has no relation whatsoever with this case.
So it was you. You admit to Inspector Gregson's murder? No. I admit to nothing more than what I said. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection.
What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean?
I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin, in order to avoid unwanted attention. As the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean.
If you only heard him out, you would get it.
So, I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me, and dispose of it somewhere else. You still can't deny it. You can't still deny it. If you didn't do it, and who on earth did kill the man? As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he had already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life. Oh. That's right. Who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Sogi.
You. I never thought you would stoop to this. Hey, Shiro Jigoku. Oh, sorry.
You've taken the words straight out of my mouth. Prosecutor, Kazuma Sogi. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could pin the crime on me, did you? Well, the prosecution counsel has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question. Yes, on an assassination mission, no less.
You wouldn't.
So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that is all I have to say on the matter. I will admit to nothing more. I don't believe this.
Answer for the defense. What is your position now? The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Sogi.
This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer's right in front of me. It comes down to Yogo, to Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well. The defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. The idea that the victim's murder could have been committed by Prosecutor Sogi is... I mean, it is certainly loving the slam desk Judge animation. Yeah, he's like going for it. Like, it is possible, like, there's no doubt about that. But did he actually do it? I don't think so, because Kazuma doesn't use guns like in general, and like the gun itself was like issued. Like it was issued to people. Well, no, not here. I'm sorry. Here. The caliber of the gun used matches that of standard issue firearms for members of the judiciary. But Kazuma is not a member of the judiciary now, is it? Or does judiciary count as being council as well? Well, anyway, I'm going to say impossible. Judge Jigoku, let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. You claim that logical reasoning is the future of the judicial process. It is, no question. Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Namely, it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Asogi to commit the crime. Oh man. What? The court will now only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. So, present what you have, counsel. What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the impossibility of Prosecutor Asogi's involvement? Must have been this, right? Because... I mean, maybe he did acquire a firearm of that notion, so maybe that's not the right thing to say here. Oof. Okay, I need to think about this one. Gotta think about this one nice and steady. What is the proof here? Okay, where was Kazuma when the incident took place? Oh, wait. Didn't he tell us that he was like at a boarding house or something? Like he left the ship? So, and there was like like his signature on the boarding house or whatever. En Marte, sí. So, I mean, how do I even say that? Okay, maybe he slipped out during the evacuation drill because there was no one present at the time to stop him from embarking off. So, there is a drill. Kazuma embarks off while no one of the crew is there to stop him, and that means that says that Jigoku is trapped in the boat, right? And he's the only one who could have committed the crime.
Take that!
This itinerary for the crew members of the SS Grout, my lord. This is conclusive proof. An itinerary? How does that prove anything? Just Jigoku. The moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant. What? Why? On the night in question, as always, a crewman sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin.
Absolutely, because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate.
So that tells us that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. And that narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock, indicated on the itinerary. Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far. Okay, hold up. Hold up, I just got like a message or something. Okay, hold up. I got like a message or something. Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far. But the crucial point is this. When the evacuation drill took place, the steam team had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk. Ah. Now, clearly the murder could only have been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at the time. Ah, amigo. But Prosecutor Sogi stated in yesterday's proceedings.
I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town, and returned to England the following morning.
Which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof that Kazuma Sogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killing. Ugh. Hold it. No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all. What do you mean? The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby in the ship. Just waiting for his chance to come back and take his... No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma?
As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodation register book. All extremely easy to verify, and undeniable proof.
No, There is no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or a government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer, as a common man. You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then, you dumped the body in the room on Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. That is what really happened, isn't it? Say Shiroji Goku. It was that damn trial 10 years ago. That's when all this began. Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already. Ah! Uma, again. It's over. My life is over. He literally, he telepathically lifted that up.
A British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan. A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands.
He animated that stand. It was the seismic wave, yeah. Absolutely. The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. Though it was hardly a request. It was a demand. And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Asogi. But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain. And you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement. Because I was already on my way to Britain at that time in Kazuma's place. And that left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. To eliminate the mark myself. Personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that. The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume. That's right. I decided it would be safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain. So I enlisted the help of my British counterpart. I made arrangements for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper. Oh, what? The Reaper?
But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation. The Reaper himself.
Ah!
So, that means that the assassin exchange was... It was all planned by the Reaper. I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart. Anyway, the Inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. It was all a trap designed to lead him to France and his own death. Oh, how awful. It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I didn't give him time to attack me. I choked him until he lost consciousness. But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. And the slightest noise may have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time waiting.
For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock. Why is this surprising? Because maybe they thought that that the Reaper was somehow connected to Diego Cueme, and so because the way I see the trial going now is Kazuma being like, "Aha! I told you the Reaper was behind all of this, and the Reaper is Barok Van 6."
I had intended to finish him by strangulation, but moments before I had the chance, he suddenly came around and went for me in a reckless move. I had received the British issue gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student. I never imagined I would have to use it for something like that. So, the revolver belongs to you, that's it?
Then the victim was killed inside your cabin on the SS ground. Which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in a room on Fresno Street.
The young judicial assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way you could take the body up on the decks to throw it over to the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered for the evacuation drill. So before the first class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigeration room.
And then, on arriving in Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police.
I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced that when the body was found in London.
In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule.
Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. Inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon, in order to meet a man by the name of Hugh Boone, whom he would take back his police identification. Ah! I decided that man would be the perfect person to set up as the culprit. So I took a hackney carriage over there with the body, in my trunk.
That must have been just after we took this photograph with you at the hotel then.
Yes, I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling little firecrackers.
Miss Venus, of course.
I conceived of the candle trick there and then. So I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate the gunshot.
What sort of disguise?
For some reason, the inspector had a red-haired piece on his own traveling case. I put that on, although I suspect I drew more attention to myself in that than I would have otherwise. The hairpiece we found in the scene. Inspector had it ready for the red-headed leak investigation. I only arrived at the room at around 4:45. So I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board and set up my little candle trick. I arranged it so the firecrackers would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later.
So that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap.
My throat.
Except at the last moment, I made a careless blunder.
What was that?
I imagine it was the bag. It was the bag of fish and chips. Ah! I didn't notice that it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to the refrigeration room. I put it back into his pocket the following morning, but Well, it seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish. Anyway, that's everything. All these are the details of what I did.
I've heard enough. We have arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime of such a vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty.
An exchange of assassins. What a foolhardy idea.
Mr. Jigoku, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who was the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? Nothing you say now can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us. Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say.
Even though as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again.
What are you waiting for? Can't we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it. I'm finished. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us has admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson. Says here, Jigoku, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found guilty. And may I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court. Well guys, it's been a great game. GG. Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt.
Oh, wonderful. Well done, Mr. Naruto.
Yes, thank you.
Is something wrong?
I'm just a little troubled by his silence. The true identity of the Reaper of the Valley, and this extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about these mysteries. However, insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion.
I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries. As a prosecutor.
As you wish. Now for the formal education. I hereby declare the defendant, Arokban 6.
Objection!
There it is.
The prosecution calls for education to be deferred.
Counsel?
The accused's innocence hasn't been fully established at all. And therefore, it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. That is the prosecution's unwavering position.
What?
But Tetsugoku has already confessed.
Nevertheless, Barukban 6 has committed crimes for which he must be punished.
Well, it would appear you have information that the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Asogi.
Certainly, the murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Seishiro Jigoku. It is clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot. Into this sick, merciless assassin exchange.
You call this lemma welcoming a customer green. That may be true, but
So what I want to know is, who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings? The victim went to France having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in the position to give such an order. As we have already established, the Reaper himself.
well, certainly that would appear to follow.
The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Barok Van Six, of being the Reaper of the Bailey. And furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt, beyond all reasonable doubt.
Oh, what?
Order! Order! Order!
The Reaper of the Bailey is a long-standing mystery, Council. Kazuma is so tunnel vision. He's so angry and ill in the head, and I love him. Yeah, same. Are you suggesting you have some new information with which to build a case?
Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord 6 very thoroughly in that regard, and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he's the Reaper.
Perhaps. But circumstances have now changed.
Also, then his prosecutor thing was hard. Ah, yeah, absolutely. Like the first time I heard it, it was like goosebumps, and ever since then I had it like on loop in my YouTube play tab. It's like, oh, so good.
What do you mean? It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Yugoku by the Reaper himself. Which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention here. I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name. You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Van Six. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes.
That explains Kazuma's silence before. We'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Van Six unwittingly started 10 years ago. Very well. Whilst it's extremely irregular, I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he has had with the Reaper and the assassin exchange.
I thank you, my lord, for gaining the court so wisely.
I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing.
Oh shit. Pray turn a blind eye to this courtesy, as I verify that this vile and unremitting accusation hasn't soured the contents of my hallowed chalice.
You know shit is hard when Van Six puts up the boot. Lord Van Six?
I first had to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now. And ever since that time, I have endured the weight of implied guilt that's gone with it. So I welcome the chance to testify now, and crush those allegations once and for all. Good.
Then let justice decide, Lord Van Six.
The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Veil.
And what says the defense?
Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous. And Kazuma is so emotional at the moment. He's not thinking logically.
You're right that he's not himself. But I knew it would be like this. I came here today determined to face him through whatever might arise. The defense says bring it! As a lawyer, and as his friend.
Then that is what we must do.
Yeah, we must be, like right now, Kazuma is very emotional. He's so hard trying to blame Van Six for what happened to his father. Like that's his only a scapegoat by now. And right now we must be with him in this dark hour, while also fighting him. It's going to be a daunting task, but then that is what we must do. Kazuma asks Ryunosuke to oppose him for a reason. Yep. The defense has no objection, my lord. Very well. Defendant, you will take the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. Oof.
As you wish, my lord.
I want to check something real quick. Okay, so I expect it to be continued to be coming up soon, and we will probably close stream after that to be continued because it's getting quite late, and I want to leave the final part of the trial for tomorrow. The Reaper and the Assassin Exchange.
I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That is the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day, and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson.
Yeah. Wilson, Gregson, and Clint. This is going to be hard.
Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the Assassin Exchange.
Oh dear. So, you deny all accusations by the prosecution. Both that you're the Reaper of the Bailey, and that you masterminded the Assassin Exchange.
I acknowledge that the public at large believes me to be the Reaper. However, that is a fallacy, which I alone am in a position to forswear. Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue. Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Yes?
Let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom?
A desire to uncover the truth.
Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty?
From all my experiences in this courtroom, I have come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out. Why are you here, bruh? You literally asked me.
Yeah.
So, it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth.
I want you to remember what you just said.
Enough dilatory chatter. Counsel for the defense. Proceed to cross-examine the witness. Ah, yes, my lord. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction you're convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony. Cross-examination. The Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. Now, should we go straight for the contradiction, or do we just play around a little bit? Let's go ahead. I'm going to say just in case I'm wrong. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson.
Objection!
What is this? An autopsy report. Wait, this is 10 years old. From the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Six.
What? My brother's autopsy report? I'm pleased to see. The defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth.
Order in court. What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, counsel? The autopsy report of the professor's final victim. is an indelible link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant. I feel so bad for Kazuma in this trial because he's clearly in pain and generally thinks that he's put all the pieces together in the right order. But also I want to grab him by the shoulders and shake him like a faulty vending machine for being so cocky. Ooh, that's right. That's the right feeling right there. That's like, Kazuma, my beautiful boyfriend. I love you, but please, shut the fuck up for a little second. Like, shh. Kazuma, silent.
Not that accursed name again. The Professor. I have personally researched on all of the court records relating to that case. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victim's souls. And for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Van Six, it was unthinkable. But someone implored the powers that be to allow the autopsy to go ahead. Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure.
And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible on the document.
As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved Genshin Asogi was guilty of the murders. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind.
Kazuma is my favorite character in this game, and I flip back and forth between Kazuma and Kazuma. I said this before, but yes, Kazuma's writing is, oh, it was so good. It's like perfectly seasoned with the perfect amount of you get him, you understand him, you care for him, and also, oh my fucking god, I understand why you are in such pain and why you're acting like this, but please, you need to stop. It is very well done, it's because it doesn't feel jarring to the player. Like it feels like a natural transition from his first self back in the first trial and the now that we know him as. Ooh, Kazuma didn't like that one. Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Lord Van Six here to avenge his brother's senseless death, with a marvelous victory in court.
A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated? If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death. That's outrageous.
It's so good, and the fact that it comes after a game and a half of the protagonist idolizing him? Chef Kiss, Thank you, Shui Takumi. Oof. The writing is like impeccable in this game.
And now, 10 years later, for some reason, the secret has been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector in the corner had to be silenced, isn't it? By someone in power in Japan and in Britain. Using the two killers recruited for the Assassin Exchange.
Amigo. Kazuma. That's a lovely hypothesis. However, Mikotoba actually penned the report. Why would Mikotoba fake a piece of evidence to incriminate his friend? You are quite eager to act, my friend Kazuma. Order! Order at once.
10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer, to be sentenced to death.
Unless Mikotoba was in on the nose and faked it and then staged the prison escape. But I don't know why he would do that.
But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I would prove it. Which is why I had to come to Britain, whatever the cost. You will have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese tenacity of purpose here. However, he who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer.
Come on, Kazuma. You know this won't wash. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence. That is nothing more than a wild accusation.
As it happens, I have evidence.
What?
As the court has heard, I crossed the channels to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku. But my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth. What truth? The truth about the evidence, and he acknowledged what I had already deduced. There is a closely guarded secret about what went on in that autopsy 10 years ago. What? A secret? I know nothing of any secret. While we waited for my supposed mark in Yogoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword, Karuma, before the inspector's eye. He very quickly understood what my true motive was.
Right, I see. You're that Asagi's young lad, aren't you? And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing, is that it?
That will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth. That is all.
Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was the professor. There is no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately, back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick.
So, you admit it then? The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated?
It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders.
Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak.
I'm not saying another word.
Even if your life depends on it.
That's right. Even then. So that's when the tip of the sword broke.
Oh, Kazuma-sama.
If the result of Van 6 autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer, Gregson, and the lead coroner, Wilson, must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Baruch Van Styx.
Kazuma, you fucking moron. I really like this twist, because this is basically they are doing what we do in most Ace Attorney games, which is the prosecution fake the proof. It's obviously them. They are the bad guys in the game, like, you know, like classic Von Karma, classic other prosecutors in the franchise. I don't think it's going to be but now it's Kazuma doing that accusation. I find that really compelling, because it's like Kazuma is acting very much like people do in most Ace Attorney games. But he's fucking wrong. He's wrong. Baruch Van 6 did nothing.
In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize this exchange of assassins. Exactly. And as was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who prepared with Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange.
Edgeworth, yeah. Edgeworth. And Kazuma is like a parallel of Edgeworth.
So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Baruch Van 6.
He's literally pulling an Ace Attorney on us.
Objection!
There it is. Kazuma Asogi. What? What you've just told the court Are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago? I heard it with my own eyes, with my own ears. His shameful admission. In that case, I know. The name of the Reaper.
Telling you what Kazuma is doing here is hearsay. Yeah. It's like, oh, Gregson told me this, and everyone is like taking it for granted. What? Lord Van Six?
I gave no such orders. Know that for certain. Which narrows down the remaining possibilities. To one.
If Lord Van Six isn't the one behind all this. Yes. There's only one other person who could have done something like that.
My sources that I made them the fuck up.
Yes. I believe I know who it is too.
You?
I just had a feeling this name was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is... Are you ready, chat? Are you guys ready? The Lord Chief Justice wields absolute authority in judicial matters, including the appointment of lawyers. He's surely telling the truth, but he has no evidence to back him up. Oops. Miles Strongheart.
Take that!
The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy results. There it is. Look at that backlit profile. It's the Lord Chief Justice himself, Lord Miles Strongheart.
What? Lord Strongheart?
Yes, it's true that 10 years ago, the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court. But he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Clint Van Six, had been killed. The true corrupted prosecutor was Strongheart, not Van Six. I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history. Well, Lord Van Six?
10 years ago, I was very new to my profession. But I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death. So I pleaded for control of the case.
He's like Damon Gant in many things, you will see. Yeah. Like head of the police / head of the prosecution, and stuff like that. Also the hair, like the hair is very much reminiscent of him.
The investigation to that point, the supplication of the lords to allow my brother's corpse to be examined. All the evidence I was given, the autopsy reports, it all came from you. I spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle the trial. But I see now. I was very much mistaken.
It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. And that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world, by Shishiro Jigoku. Lord Strongheart, everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey. Boom!
Debut. The court awaits your response, my lord. This man may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you, it is no joke. Consider this a formal accusal by the defense.
Van Six and Ryosuke teaming up. They're like, after 2 whole games, they're teaming up by... The British attorney took so much from the mainland series and cranked them up to 11. I love it. It doesn't warrant a response. A formal accusal? Don't be absurd. Defense's claims are utter nonsense. A wild fantasy at best. You're not going to defend yourself? You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clintman 6 autopsy. That is utterly untrue.
Objection!
But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it.
And where is your evidence? Ooh. Van 6 forgetting he's the defendant here, lol. What? Gregson is dead now, unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand. Maya, yeah, come over here for a second. Well, like, not Maya, but like the ancestor of the fake clan. Can you come here for a second? We need like a spirit channeling here. Yeah, we need to channel a police officer.
You mean to say?
I forget how the system works in your little backwater country. And in the courts of the British Empire, without evidence, there is no case. I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can possibly be substantiated by anyone or anything.
Ooh, look at that green.
Look at that green.
Oh.
Order in court. Following Inspector Gregson's murder, and in the light of what's Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about the events of 10 years ago, is there?
So that was the real purpose of the assassin exchange.
This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded a decade ago. The accusal brought by the prosecution and the defense is categorically denied. No, there is still someone who can testify. I take it there are no objections. Kazuma. He's more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do now? Is there no other avenue we can go down in pursuit of the truth? What happened all those years ago? If only there was someone who could testify about Clintman 6's autopsy. Stronghead is like, nah.
What the fuck? The fuck you mean? Nah.
He's gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his tracks. And so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silence. Dr. Seed won't say anything against Strongheart. But there's still one ray of hope.
Objection!
Actually, there is one person. One person could still testify about that autopsy. Don't be ridiculous. There's no one left.
Who, Ryunosuke? Who? Tell me.
Kazuma,
Please, this trial can't end. Not yet.
I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the truth. The person the defense would like to call to the stand to testify about the autopsy of Lord Clintman 6 is Yujin Mikotoba.
Take that!
Heaven helps us. Another Japanese. An expert in forensic science, my lord. Professor Yujin Mikotoba. 16 years ago. He came to London with Seishiro Jigoku and Genshin Asogi as a visiting student. And what could his testimony possibly tell us?
Professor Mikotoba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report.
Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. The report carries his signature.
It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure.
Eugene, get in here, buddy.
In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it.
In other words, Professor Mikotoba witnessed the entire autopsy from start to finish. The defense demands that Mikotoba be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something only he can tell us. The defense's demand is denied. What?
But Professor Mikotoba is in London at this very moment. We could summon him to the stand in minutes.
No, of course he's not going to agree to it. Strongheart has no intention of summoning anyone who knows. He's too concerned about protecting himself. Sekidra Asogi, let me refresh your memory, as you seem to have forgotten the prosecution stance. Only minutes ago, you accused the defendant of being the Reaper, and of masterminding the assassin exchange.
I did, yes.
So, present your evidence for those claims, and make your case complete. Kazuma, you are like shooting all of those claims from earlier. Now they're coming back to shoot you in the foot. And there you go. Everyone else thought Wilson was the one who penned the report, and that mistake literally saved his life. Because if Strongheart knew it was him, he would have been assassinated. Yeah, exactly. Wilson died because everyone thought that he was the one who did it. Wilson died because he was a fucking lazy ass doctor and didn't want to do the report by all by himself and told Miko what to do it. Wilson died because he was lazy. That's literally it. He was too lazy to do the fucking report all by himself. He didn't survive because nobody knew he was involved. Yeah, exactly.
At this time, I don't have the requisite evidence. But that's exactly why we need witness testimony.
The professor case is closed. There are no clues in the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Asogi, you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father. Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by Japanese Supreme Court Judge Seishiro Jigoku. As for any hidden circumstances that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by the proper authorities.
Susato was so close to never meeting her father. Strongheart said that just to be awful, damn dude.
Objection!
But we all know what will happen. I will just give the mastermind of the whole venture time to cover his tracks again. By which you mean me. Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, Prosecutor Asogi, you will be remanded following these proceedings. Willingly, I trust, as you gave your word. This futile game of revenge is over. Young Master Asogi.
Kazuma. Okay. Sholmes. Now is your time. Hold it! Mr. Sholmes!
This is no place for amateur detection, Mr. Sholmes. May I remind you that these proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave the courtroom at once.
Objection!
Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Seishiro Jigoku before he fled from Europe. The court should hear what he has to say.
Lord Miles Strongheart, it's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to an end at this stage.
Is it really? And why would that be?
You need only recall your own words from the opening of the trial to answer that question, if I may. We will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth.
Carlol, well, thank you for the follow. The original trilogy had the Deus Ex Mia. This game has the Deus Ex Sholmes.
We will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be. But the shock of being accused of being the Reaper yourself has erased that from your memory. Can it?
The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered.
It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows. Should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend? Do not belong up to the prevarications of your superiors. Order! Order in court! It seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices. A door that is ajar. Let us emerge from the shadow of the reaper's decade-long ascendancy. For you and you alone, my dear fellows, have the power to put this door open. The auditors in the gallery have no rights to express an opinion on court proceedings. Silence! That's right. The judge has absolute authority here. Yes, if he calls the trial to an end, it must end. But will that really do? I sense dark things occurring behind the scenes. Dark things indeed. Is there a single person here present who can honestly say, What is? The trial should go on. Summon the witness. That is right. We need to clear this up before the young Japanese fellow is remanded in custody. My lord, you assured those present that you would uncover the whole truth here. Vindicate yourself at this accusation. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's the very foundation of British law. A toast to my dependable colleagues in the gallery.
Testify.
Well, my lord,
This has been a true summation examination. Holy shit. Sons with the power of peer pressure to save the day.
you hear the voices of you hear the voice of British justice, I think. I think you will find it will be rather awkward this segment.
The court will recess briefly. No intention of shrinking from these allegations. Bailiff, arrange for the subpoena of the witness at once. As soon as the gentlemen arrive at the courthouse, we shall reconvene.
A recess won't be necessary, my lord.
Pardon?
Mikoto is a close friend of mine. Accompanied me today and is waiting in the antechamber as we speak. I do believe he's been enjoying a little trip down memory lane, in fact.
What? Professor Mikoto is here in the courthouse. Mr. Sons, you didn't know this would happen, did you?
My dear fellow, no one is in a better position to answer that question than you, surely.
I wasn't just asking for the fun of it, you know. Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Sons. However, you're of no further use here. Kindly leave the courtroom at once.
But of course. In truth, I find myself rather busy now as a result of these developments. Mr. Naruto,
Yes?
I trust you have Iris's little lucky charm with you.
Absolutely. It's still in my pocket.
Please send some regrets, and a reminder. If you find yourself at the dead end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one tag, if you please.
Oh, of course. In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand. You get no time to prepare, Strongheart. So, it's Lord Strongheart. He is the Reaper of the Valley. Where exactly is this trail going to take me, I wonder? Just how deep am I about to be plunged into the blackness of the abyss? Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to head into the heart of this maelstrom. Maelstrom, Strongheart, and confront whatever horrors it tries to drown me under. To be continued tomorrow. Gossamer Green, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. Alright. Oh, you're here. Gotta follow to catch the stream tomorrow. Well, that's a GG. Yeah. I'm going to back to title. I'm not going to override that slot. I'm just. We have that slot saved, so we'll do fine. My girl is here too. Yeah, I was wondering like maybe she wouldn't be able to testify because she isn't like really that important. Like her mother is more important to the pertaining case because like she was the one there and everything. But it looks like she's going to testify, so that's going to be nice. Maria Gori, my beloved. Oh, sorry. Whoop, I need to switch. Thank you everyone for being here. Tomorrow's stream, it will happen at 4 p.m. CEST, or maybe 5 p.m. CEST. I will probably confirm it, but around 4 p.m. CEST. 4 p.m. I'm going to write it in chat just in case, so that you can check it with your time zone. But we will be back tomorrow to finish this once and for all. Now then, is there anyone we can raid at the moment? Let's see. Is there anyone live? Not really. But then again, thank you everyone for being here. It's been quite a fun journey so far. It's been like a year and a half now since we started this game. And tomorrow, we finish it. Thank you everyone for being here, and I will see you all next time. Bye!